Alrighty, rapid fire book tag. Hello everyone and welcome back to Tea and Lit. I need some beverage. We are powering through these videos. These are probably not going all up at the same time, so you may not be able to tell that I'm filming like 14 videos this week. Crazy. All right, today is the rapid fire book tag. So let's do this. Question number 1, ebook or physical book? Physical book 100%, mostly because ebooks hurt my eyes. Number 2, paperback or hardback? I prefer hardback books, but part of that is because I like to write in my books, I know, and it's easier to do that if there is a hardback. Plus, I feel like they look better in my bookshelf. Number 3, online or in-store shopping? Absolutely in-store. First of all, gives you something to do, and that's my preferred place. All I want to do in my whole life is just to spend time at church, bookstores, libraries. I say to Keith all the time, the only 2 places you need to know where they are in the world is your local library and your church. You can get literally everything you need from those 2 places. What about food, Lexi? Yeah, what about it? Number 4, trilogies or series? That's a hard question. I'm going to go with... The reason this is a hard question is because it depends on the book. Like, sometimes you read a trilogy and you're like, this really... I'm glad this ended. But then some of them, because like by the 3rd book, that's not great anymore. But then there's some of them that it's like the trilogy is just not long enough. And then sometimes you read a series and you're like, ugh, we get it. So I'm going to go with series. I feel like I've enjoyed series more. Or you know what's really fun is when there's a trilogy and then they do a novella and then another trilogy. That's my preferred. That's cheating, but whatever. Number 5, heroes and villains. Anti-heroes. Yeah. Now I'm gonna go villains. I do love villains. Everybody loves a good old-fashioned villain. Everybody knows that. 6, a book you want everyone to read. The Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis is by far one of my favorite books of all time. I think it's phenomenal and everyone should read it. Number 7, recommend an underrated book. Ooh. The thing is, like, this channel is devoted to classic literature, and I feel like you can't really say classic literature is underrated because we do make people read it when they're in school. So I'm gonna say Othello. People, that's not the first Shakespeare tragedy that people think of. They'll think of Romeo and Juliet first. They'll think of Julius Caesar, which is not a tragedy, but whatever. It's not the first one. A Midsummer Night's Dream. Othello is not like in the top 3 or 5 Shakespeare books that people think of. So I'm gonna go with Othello. The last book you finished is Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare. Number 9, the last book you bought. I just had a haul yesterday of all sorts of books. So Les Mis was in there, Romeo and Juliet was in there. I'm looking at a stack. The Lord of the Rings books and The Hobbit were in there. A bunch of other things. I basically spent $50 at the used bookstore, so I had a grand old time with myself. Frankenstein and Dracula. It was a whole bunch of books. Number 10, weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark. This is gonna be so gross, and I debated not telling you guys this, but I want to be honest. I want to tell you my true self, and I don't want to hide myself on the internet, okay? I used a wrapper from a feminine hygiene product, but it was just the wrapper and it was clean. But you know, I had to make some different lifestyle choices when that happened. I had to really reconsider. So now I typically will carry like a post-it note with me or something that's folded up just so I can stick something sensible in my books. Some people dog ear. I'm not a dog ear. I wonder if that's one of the questions actually. 11, used books, yes or no? I love a good pre-loved book, particularly when I'm reading classic literature. Is my hair getting bigger? I'm sweating. When it comes to classic literature, I prefer pre-loved books. And the reason for that is I don't feel the need to pay full price for a book that's not even, the cost of it is not even going to the author because the author is dead. I do get new books, like contemporary books, I do buy those new. And that's just because I want to make sure that I'm supporting the art and the artistry and the authors, because I think that's important. That is literally how they make their livelihoods. So, number 12, top 3 favorite genres. Shakespearean tragedies, dystopias, religious books. 13, borrow or buy. Borrow, particularly for new books. For contemporary books, I borrow them first, particularly if they're like in a series, and I'll read the first two, and if I like them from the library in the first two books of the series, I'll buy the whole series. Because that means I want it on my bookshelf. However, when it comes to classic literature, I do believe in buying it because you're going to need that in the future, and it's going to be great to give to your children in the future, and, you know, I don't know, I just really like having classic literature on hand. It makes people come in and they're like, ooh, you got an entire collection of William Shakespeare? You must be so smart. Thanks. I like the dark academia aesthetic. 14, characters or plot. Wow. I'm going to say, wow. I'm going to say plot, because an empty plot book is super, like, those are hard to get through. Even if you do like the main characters, I feel like an empty plot, you get to the end of the book and you're like, why did I just waste, 3 days of my life reading this? Number 15, long or short books. I prefer short books because you can get in, you can get out, and then you can evaluate and adopt what you want into your life. Number 16, long or short chapters. I prefer a short chapter. And the reason is because I tend to read not just at home and not just when I have like all this time. I like being able to stop whenever I can. I do spend a lot of time reading when I'm with kids, and so by that I mean I babysit, and so being able to like have our cuddle time and read books, but then when they're totally over it can quickly come to an end and then go and play a game is really important to me. So I prefer short chapters, or at least having like those short dividers in the middle of chapters is really helpful. Name the first 3 books you can think of. Okay, I've got books literally all around me because I'm filming so many videos, so I want to cover my eyes and think about it. I'm gonna go Frankenstein, Dracula, and Fahrenheit 451. Which are all books that I just bought yesterday. 18, books that make you laugh or cry. Is this gonna be terrible? I don't really feel things. I don't know. I haven't read enough classic literature to say which one of those sorts of books will make me laugh or cry, to be totally honest with you. The Screwtape Letters got me, and the Confessions of St. Augustine got me. But that might be more because those are ones, like I haven't read a lot of classic literature, which is kind of the point of this channel, is to get me to read more classic literature. So I am only giving a half answer, and that is going to be the Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis and the Confessions of St. Augustine. What number was that? 19 is next. Our world or fictional worlds. I do prefer fictional worlds, but that's because I am attracted to fantasy type books. 20, audiobooks, yes or no? Sometimes. I like a good audiobook for Shakespeare. However, I don't love audiobooks for everything, because sometimes you don't know what you're getting with an audiobook. Who's going to be doing the reading? 21. Do you ever judge a book by its cover? Not with classic literature. I do not judge classic literature by its cover, and the reason for that is because it's not the original cover a lot of times, and I just don't see the point. Like, clearly it's a classic for a reason. With modern books, I totally do. With any of my YA fantasy books, I 100%, totally, to be honest with you, judge them by their covers and their titles. 22, book to movie or book to TV show adaptations. I prefer TV shows. If the book is that good that it needs an adaptation, I prefer TV shows because it stretches the story out. But I do like having like a definite end. I don't like when they just keep going for the sake of it, because sometimes it can get a little dull, a little boring. But if you have if you're thinking like one season per book, that's cool, because then you have a clear defined end. And I like that. Question number 23, movie or TV show you preferred to its book. The Handmaid's Tale. I actually prefer The Handmaid's Tale to show on Hulu to the book. 24, series or standalone. I'm gonna go standalones. I feel like most classic literature is standalone, so that might be a little biased, but I'm gonna go standalone. In terms of YA contemporary fantasy, I do prefer a good series. That's it. Rapid fire is done. I would love it if you could put in the comment section people you have seen do this tag, and if you've done this tag, put your video in the comment section because I totally want to watch it. Thank you guys for watching. Please vote on this video. Let me know if you like these tag videos or not, and I can make sure that I'm doing more of them or less of them depending on how you guys feel about them. And click subscribe because some of the books mentioned will have reviews and or discussions and or whatever else. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.